can help us in the next 3 weeks, but things that we can take from this game that help us as we keep trying to move forward again.
If you have questions, you could raise your hands, please.
Bob, can you talk about the decision to bring out a younger team to start the game and then bring in the veterans in the second half? How much thought went into that? And just talk about that decision. And who impressed you of your younger guys?
The trick on a day like today is trying to figure out who are the guys that you think can potentially go 90 minutes, and how to have enough of them on the field at the beginning that you have some options, and then you feel like you've got everybody ready to go. So it's we've done it different ways, but today we felt that was probably the best way. Younger guys. These are good games for Timmy Ream. When you play against the top teams, because they're so creative, because they're so mobile. What they do is, if you're a center back, they play in the little spaces in front of you. If you're leaning a little bit, they're able to find ways to get behind you. But I still see positives there, and I also like the fact that with Tim that he's trying to make the right pass out of the back. If you look back on the game against Paraguay, I thought our play out of the back was good, and a lot of it came where he started it. So these are things that now he got tested today at a different level, and again, these are the kind of lessons that we think help players.
Steve.
Bob, we know this is a friendly, and the result doesn't matter. The more important stuff's coming up. But when you see a team fall behind by that many in the first half, is there a sense of embarrassment about what was unfolding there?
No. I mean, look, it's when you challenge yourselves against the best teams, you have to accept that this is the way it can be sometimes, and you hope that now players can still deal with it on the field. If we didn't think that we could handle it, we wouldn't play these games. And so it's never easy when you're behind 3-0 at halftime, because now, especially when you take someone like Timmy Howard, with all the games he's played and how much he's meant to us, you got to give him a little word of encouragement at halftime, just to say, look, we've been in these kind of games, we've learned from them, don't let it get you, and that's that. So, we understand. I follow the game all over the place, and I've seen what Spain has done on certain days to many teams. I've seen what Barcelona has done on many days, score-wise. So the players that they have in Spain right now, their ability as a team, it's special. It's 3 times now we've had a chance to play them, and every time, believe me, you walk away incredibly impressed with just how good they are, how they're able to move the ball so intelligently, so skillfully. Just as you're trying to close them down, the ball's already off and somewhere else. And there's not that many teams in the world that can show you that.
Grant.
Bob, how serious is Landon Donovan's illness? Do you expect him to be ready for Tuesday? And how do you try and motivate your guys after a game like this?
Maybe I answer the last part first. Now we go to the Gold Cup, and we knew all along that this was a game, like I said, a really tough test. If we had won the game today, we still would have understood the challenges of the Gold Cup. When you lose it, we will be able to communicate the right messages. Like I said, we've been there before. We've not been afraid of these kind of days. So there's motivation because the Gold Cup's important. As far as Landon, started showing signs late yesterday. Today, just a little bit weak and that kind of thing. Hopefully, this is a 24-hour thing, and he'll be ready to go.
Coach, during the first half, 2 of the goals came from the flanks. Was there any kind of advice you gave the team in the first half, or what did you change tactically at halftime to fix that?
And when a team moves the ball that well, then again, there's times when they open you up. And so, Spain, you try to not let them come right through the center, because they're so adept at opening up these little windows and getting people running through and playing balls. And yet, as you try to close that part away, then they've got plan B. So, we talked a little bit about, again, in some cases, the positioning of defenders. If you get caught and now you pinch in a little bit too far, then they're going to make you pay. And so it's not that you can change anything tactically. It's that you're being challenged by a team that now makes you pay if you're a couple inches in the wrong spot.
Brian?
I had trouble creating in the first half, obviously. Do you point to the lack of a player in midfield that could really sort of hold the ball and dictate a bit of rhythm? And were Josie and Juan just not able to run into the right spots and find a place to make themselves available? Or was it a little bit of both?
Yeah, it's all that. As good as Spain is with the ball, they also pressure you quickly. And so you have players that maybe are accustomed to having just a little more time to release a pass, a little bit more time to get into a spot where they can receive a pass, and all of a sudden today, the windows are smaller, they close down faster, and you find again that now getting out of some of these tight spots is that much more difficult.
Leander?
Bob, can you look ahead to your opponents in the Gold Cup and what you're expecting from them in the group stage?
For now, I would just maybe mention Canada, a team that we have a lot of respect for, a team that comes into this Gold Cup feeling confident. And they've had some good results in the last 6 months, and so we understand that the first game of any tournament is always a tough one, and we expect a real difficult game against a big rival.
Franco?
Obviously, you were without a bunch of your top players, but what was different today on their part than maybe 2 years ago? You guys were able to, force them down the flanks, but not score as many times or give them clear chances.
Yeah, you can't compare this to 2 years ago. This is a friendly, all right? It's a friendly where we're starting the Gold Cup in 3 days, so even as far as decisions we have to make about lineups and that kind of thing. So, there's not much that you can really compare. The only thing that serves as a good reminder is to let guys know that, you look at how good Spain is and everything that they've accomplished in recent years, and the fact is that still, on a day with a lot at stake, we were able to beat that team, right? And now that is the motivation. That is the idea that we, in the last cycle, played against tough teams, learned tough lessons, grew on the job, and then eventually we were able to play at a high level against an extraordinary team. Now today, it's a friendly, it's totally different, but it's a good reminder.
Doug?
Can you just talk about how you thought Eric Lehigh did on the left side?
I would say that some good, some bad. Eric, when it comes to straight, sort of one-on-one type situation, duels, where now the guy's trying to dribble at him or whatever, Eric actually stands up pretty well in those situations. But now when things are happening faster and he's got to figure out what's in front of him and where's his line and is his position right, and then make those kind of decisions, it's harder. With the ball, you can see that he's got an ability at times to run with the ball. But if you run with it at the wrong times against a team like that, then you go into a dead end. And so his ability now to, in some cases, release the pass a little faster as defenders are starting to go to him. And this is also a little bit more difficult for a right-footed player playing on the left. So, he got some experience playing on the left with Leeds. We watched those games, and we thought that today was a good way to size it up. Obviously, we make a decision that with Carlos Bocanegra having played 90 minutes last Sunday, and again, it goes back to what I said earlier with decisions on lineups, because you got to have a certain number of guys that you feel can handle the 90 minutes.
Kyle?
You're able to field a bunch of different combinations in certain parts of the field, whether it's in the wide areas or central defense or central midfield. What were you able to learn from being able to mix and match a little bit, even when you're playing against Spain, and instead of some of the other opponents you'll face in the next couple of weeks?
I mean, we see a lot of these different combinations in training. Now, again, what we really hoped more than anything is just that as we go through the Gold Cup now, whatever situation arises, we've been able to put players on the field, test some of the different combinations, and there's a level of confidence the next time that you know, center backs have played with each other, midfielders have played with each other, forwards, combinations, that kind of thing. So I think it just helps us down the road.
Can you talk about your decision regarding Adu and what you expect the lineup to, the formation to become against Canada?
The first part of your question with regards to
Adu, why he wasn't on the roster today?
Freddie.
Yeah, Freddie.
Okay. You know, when we put together this roster, we felt that this was a time for us to reassess where Freddie is in all this. He didn't get put on the roster, in all honesty. With the expectation that he was ready to come in and play a big role at this time, all right? We get him back. I think he's done a good job in terms of, you know, he hasn't been in a while. You can tell that he's matured in different ways. And now over the course of this period of time, hopefully there'll be some opportunities for him.
Did you learn anything new about Juan Agudelo or Chris Wondolowski today?
Not new. You know, Juan, I say it all the time. I really like the fact that Juan goes into, Juan wants the ball. He goes into, he doesn't look for the easiest spots on the field. He goes into real spots and he wants the ball. And now he's confident in those spots. Now, today, again, because you're playing against some very, very good defenders, because the team closes things down fast, certainly there's moments where he wanted the ball and he got in those spots, but now his ability to either use his body first before the defender uses his body against him, his ability to have an idea of where he's going when the ball comes, just improvise, make a play. So, you know, those things get put to the test, but we see it in training and we still think that there's, for a young player, some great starting points. Chris Wondolowski, you know, this is a bunch of steps up. You know, he's played one game with the national team in January against Chile, and all of a sudden he's playing against the world champions. He has a knack for finding some good spots on the field. Every MLS game I watch him in, he gets chances. When I look at the goals that he's scored thus far in MLS this year, they're good goals, different kind of goals, with his head, with his left foot, volleys. And so today he was in decent positions a few times, but maybe now couldn't quite make the next play. Hopefully that experience is going to help him over the next 3 weeks, I hope.
That's all the time we have for now as a team.